The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode.
It's the summer of 93 at 30.
Welcome back to the Brandon Peters Show for another Friday music video edition here on the summer of 93 at 30. And joining me for the next 2 Fridays, actually, is my old space show cohort, Tony Schaab from sciencefiction.com.
Yay! So excited to, I love old sci-fi stuff, but I'm thrilled to talk about something else for a change. I love it.
Yes, and you recently had a cameo on the Brandon Peters Show live in the background.
Ooh, I'll take it.
You came and sat, watched the show for a second. I tried to get you there, but yeah. So welcome, Tony. First off, as my listeners get tired of me saying, and I welcome you here. Memories of 1993. Where were you at? What was going on? Summer specifically, but maybe 93 in general.
Oh boy. Summer of 93. Holy cow. We're putting it on me here. I believe that was the summer in between my sophomore and junior year of high school. I was a young fella in Fort Wayne trying to figure out life. 14, 15, maybe, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Just trying to figure out who I was and who I was going to be. And, in high school, I was I was relatively settled into my ways. I was fairly nerdy at that point. I was, doing my sci-fi stuff, but also a weird blend of fine arts as well. I did a lot of theater. I was in show choir when I was in high school. So an interesting blend of, not too deep down the geek cred hole just quite yet, but just trying to figure out how to blend that all together, I guess. So yeah, it was an interesting time, the mid-90s, for a variety of reasons.
And it wasn't cool back then, and you had to keep some of it like, I shouldn't talk about that around people.
Yes, you're right. It's not. Yes, it's the nerdy stuff was not as big, not as socially acceptable now. Although it was around that time when I first started going a little more hardcore to conventions. At that point, Fort Wayne was hosting. Creation was doing a lot of Star Trek conventions all over the place. I remember that was around the time that I would start going to Star Trek conventions. I got to meet James Doohan, who played Scotty, and Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov. I remember meeting them very, very, very well at Star Trek conventions in the early 90s. And then I won a trivia contest at the convention. I'll never forget this. And I was super excited. Not only was I excited because I won the convention, but I won the grand prize was $100 to spend on the convention floor at any of the vendors. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to get? And, at that point, I'm still relatively like a kid. This was probably right as I started high school. So again, trying to figure it out. And I had everything. I had my choices narrowed down to either I was going to get a very beautiful, screen accurate 3D chess set that was gorgeous, or I could get the full lights and sound PlayStation of the Enterprise D bridge, and I already had all the action figures at home, so I was like, give me that bridge, and I feel like I made the wrong choice.
See, like, I thought you might be going towards the whole thing of like, I'm going to buy trading cards.
Oh, no,
I went to the convention to buy something I could have bought at the store.
Ended up with some magic beans. No, I had some cool stuff, and that lights and sound bridge was really cool. I should have kept it in great shape in the box, but I played with it. I did my thing. In retrospect, I'm always like, could have had a 3-dimensional chess set.
That would have been sweet. Oh my.
Yes. Next time.
Or look it up on eBay and then go.
Oh, I have. It's way more than $100 now. So.
Oh my! But that bridge got some good love and play.
It did. I got some heavy usage out of it. So
that's great. So this week on the show, the movies we talked about were Ang Lee's The Wedding Banquet, Benefit of the Doubt, which is this batshit crazy movie with Donald Sutherland and Amy Irving, Hocus Pocus, and Free Willy. Do you have any thoughts on any? Have you seen any of them? And your thoughts?
I have, of course. Really, any red-blooded American should have seen Free Willy by now. Right. Obviously, if for nothing else, for the iconic moment when Willie jumps over, little what's his name in the bay. Go Willie! that type of thing. But
a trailer that gave away the ending and no one cared.
Literally, just oh, he's getting away. Okay, great. Well, I guess that's going to be a thing. So,
but as I said, the title is Free Willy. So
right.
Yeah,
his odds are good. He's going to get away. So yes, odds are good. I remember seeing the Wedding Banquet as a longtime wedding professional. I'm kind of obligated to see all the wedding related movies. I mean, it's been a hot minute. I remember just vaguely that it was this whole, the whole rigmarole of there's a guy, but he's trying not to let his, his parents or family, or he's trying to not to let them know what he really is or whatever. So I got to get into this wacky scenarios. Like, it's a very typical 90s vibe, which is interesting for an Ang Lee directed film to be that kind of vibe. It's like, it's as close as Ang Lee's going to come to a rom-com kind of vibe there. So,
Right. That was a surprise for me. I'd never seen it. And I really actually really enjoyed that one. I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know anything about it going in. So yeah, that was one I really enjoyed.
Yeah, very, very different, very unique vibe for that. It's like, and then of course the 90s is when all that stuff kind of changed. There's the landlord, he's gay and his female. Like, it's this whole, like, it was more acceptable to kind of have those kind of situations at that point now. So
yeah, and Hocus Pocus.
I mean, who's not familiar with Hocus Pocus, especially he's with?
Are you a fan of it, or?
I mean, it never resonated with me the way that it resonates with some
okay, because the three of us on Monday all, like, not...
Sure. Like, I mean, I watch it and I'm like, I don't know, it almost... this is stereotypical because Sarah Jessica Parker's in it, but I'm like, is this a prequel to, like, Sex and the City? Like, what am I watching here? Like, I'm not sure what this is, but I mean, I get it. It was a very, it was a Halloween movie when Halloween was getting, like, big, and they were trying to, like, here's other ways you can enjoy Halloween. Look at the, look at the witches and the ladies, and it's funny. And, I understand why it resonates with some people, just not with me.
It's not. Yeah. I said that, like, it sounds like, to me, it's this movie that you saw as, like, a kid. And then later, like, when you're in, like, college and you're talking to someone, remember the Hocus Pocus? And it sounds cooler with your memory and talking about it than actually going back and sitting through it. Cause it has some good makeup and costumes and stuff. And there's moments, but all together watching it's just kind of like, huh, but it has a rabid fan base that loves it, and good for them. I am envious because I want to like it like you do. So
sure.
That's
Yep. I feel you. Yep.
All right. So you're here to talk Slam.
Woo, Slam.
Yes, this is the second single from the debut album, which is a favorite album title of mine, Back It the Fuck Up. It's spelled BACDAFUCUP to cleverly not get censored and all that stuff, and everybody can say it and be like, well, that's what I'm pronouncing. The other singles include Throw Ya Guns, Shifty, and Danex not saying the third word on the air. Here.
Okay.
Or off the air. I'm not saying it. There.
Probably wise.
Yes. You can look it up. The song went platinum, topping the rap singles charts and peaking at number 4 on the Hot 100 and number 37 for the year. The album went platinum too and peaked at number 17 on the Billboard Top 200. The song is noted for introducing slam dancing into hip hop. ONYX, which comprised at this time of Fred Rose Star, Sticky Fingers, Big DS, and Suave, were said that Nirvana and the Red Hot Chili Peppers are an influence on this song. So, Tony, before we get in the song, or before we get in the music video, thoughts on the song? Obviously, you've heard it before, and yeah.
100%. Yes, very familiar with it, obviously, as a longtime personal listener, as a longtime wedding DJ. It's one of those songs that makes it into the rotation, so yeah, it's obviously it's catchy as all get out. I couldn't tell you if any of the average listeners know any of the verse content. This is definitely one of those songs where it's all the refrain that is what draws people in, of course. So, but it's interesting to hear that they said that like Red Hot Chili Peppers and things like that are an influence, because I do know for a fact, like looking over, like when you go watch it on YouTube and you look at all the comments and you see people like writing articles about it, like it resonated with like the hard rock grunge people of that
Yeah.
time. It was like as close as I think a rap video is going to come to a crossover, short of like Run DMC and Aerosmith working together. Like, I mean, this is as close as it's going to come, where a lot of grunge people were like, this song is a banger. It kind of weirdly crossed lines, and I'm not sure how or why, but it did. It spoke to a lot of people at that time, more than just rap fans.
Yeah, and I put in I had my notes here that, ONYX was like kind of like at this time like a heavy metal of rappers, and at the end of the decade you kind of get the perfect form of that with DMX, and he would like take the mantle on that, because I was not a big rap person. I had little things I liked in the early 90s and stuff, but I was a little alternative grunge kid. And then like towards the end, when I was getting into the new metal stuff, DMX comes along and I dug him, like his barking, his rah, 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 and the way he was, it kind of sat well with the corns of the world and the Slipknots and like that kind of stuff. It kind of, you could throw a DMX song in there and not miss a beat with those bands. So I 100% agree with you when you're talking about that weird kind of crossover there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I mean, ONYX did when DMX came on the scene, ONYX did they did a collaboration together. The song Shut 'Em Down, they did together. So it made sense for them to try to kind of, merge their talents and things like that. You mentioned Throw Your Guns earlier. It's got that kind of same kind of a little heavier vibe to it. So I mean, as close as a crossover, rap group comes, which makes sense, because at that time in the late 80s, early 90s, I think music groups in general were kind of experimenting with crossing genre lines, and the smart rap bands rap groups for sure were kind of seeing what else was out there that fit into their vibe, for lack of a better term. So yeah, it's a really interesting. It's kind of a bummer that ONYX never really had another a hit as major as Slam.
Right.
Slam is, I hesitate to call him a one-hit wonder, but in terms of general populace knowledge, they kind of are.
Yeah, they kind of, their lasting impact is making those like best of 90s CDs and best of, Sticky Fingers would go on to have a rap career, and so would Fred Rose Star. Fred Rose Star wound up in Save the Last Dance. He ended up starring in that, and he had an album. I picked it up in the early 2000s. Wasn't too bad. He had a song that I liked, that it was all, the lyrics were all composed of rap album titles. So like he made them all flow in a way. It was really, really cool. But this song like hit so hard and so immediately, especially the pop culture zeitgeist. It was like, I feel like it was instantly in ads, shows, and games, and like you forget it was ever something for casual listening. Like you said, it instantly hits the wedding DJ circuit. Like it feels like immediately when it drops, 5 years have passed instantly, and it's already like nostalgia. Like it hit that point real fast.
Yeah, it was kind of everywhere all at once. I remember that, and it was one of those rare, again, a kind of a crossover where you could flip to MTV and you would absolutely catch it, and then you could flip to BET and you would absolutely catch it, right? Like, I mean, it definitely kind of crossed those lines, and like you said, it became a cultural, it became very ingrained very quickly. It was just, it's all about that hook, man. I mean, it's just, it's catchy. People want to, the slam is
anthemic. It's got the crowd as the kind of chorus going. So
it's easy to understand. It's easy to repeat. Like I said, no one, the verses obviously are a very different story. No one could tell you anything about the verses, but that hook is just next level.
Yeah, there you go. The music video, it's directed by Pres Maxson, known in the past as a guitarist and songwriter of Cro-Mags. I don't know who they are. Known as a camera person. Has done work on the show Power, the Gerard Butler movie Den of Thieves, show The Americans, Orange is the New Black, Saturday Night Live work, even Hostel 3, Medea Goes to Jail. So like all corners of the world that he's covering. But music video wise, also did videos for Sepultura, more ONYX, and Anthrax. So there's that metal thing going there again.
Yeah.
They filmed it on Broadway stages in Queens, New York, Compton, California, and this did not premiere on MTV. Tony, it premiered on The Box.
Ah, Okay.
Remember the
box.
box? We could call in, and
Sure.
I want to, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. There's cameos in it from Russell Simmons, Run DMC, Boss, Flatliners, Biohazard. So yeah, it's this is just kind of one of those hangout party videos. What do you get from this one, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's just a bunch of people kind of dancing around doing their kind of freestyle thing. You got the classic, kind of cars hopping their way down the street. I mean, it definitely is. I mean, it just feels like they just kind of got together and decided to say the lyrics over having a good time. Like it's interesting because videos like this, at first glance, you're like, well, they just turn the camera on and let it go.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not that simple. There was direction, there was choreography, they were doing things in a certain way to augment the fact that the song is designed to kind of be this general party. Let's hang out and just let the boys be boys, like they say, like, and that's absolutely the vibe they're going for,
Right.
So, and they nailed it in this video for sure.
Yeah, there's strobes. There's it's like concert atmosphere. There's the typical 90s horror thing of like chains coming from the ceiling. Like, I don't know what was up with chains hanging from ceilings back then. But there's crowd surfing is kind of a thing. There's the ONYX has like a banner there too. But yeah, there's some guys pushing each other. There's breaking stuff with sledgehammer. There's bouncing cars in it. So it's got some action going on there.
And of course, you really can't have any 90s music video without the group singing directly to the camera, the very in your face, like, here it comes, I'm going to do the lyrics, and here I am, and check me out again. Like, that's a very standard thing, but obviously a very effective vibe for the, hey, look at me, I got something to say kind of crowd there.
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's not, this is pretty much it. You get to see the guys doing their sticky fingers going crazy when he does his verses. Just hanging out. We've done a couple Dr. Dre videos, but his second one that we've done, Dre Day, that one is a parking garage concert. Well, they don't really concert there, but just people hanging out, dancing. Similar to that, bit more energy here. A lot of cuts and zooms and stuff compared to that one, and just kind of announce. It's kind of like, hey, we're ONYX. It's not the first single, but it's something. It was it was the second single. So
it's got that kind of, I mean, it's just, the vibe is just, it's got just a hangout vibe, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to, which makes sense, because that's what this song, that's the vibe you get by listening to it, is, let's hang out, let's bop around a little bit, just be yourself and do your thing. And that's definitely what the video feels like, is they're just kind of doing their thing.
I don't know what else you would do to this. Is not a song that lends itself to a story music video or anything like that. This is what you get.
Absolutely.
Though Bare Bones video here, it was number 1 on MTV's Most Wanted for 4 months. Hit number 1 on MTV's Weekly Countdown in 1993. So where we're at. So yeah, that'll wrap us up here for this ONYX music video experience. Tony, till next Friday, where can people keep up with you?
Oh, you can come hang out with me online. The easiest place to find me is probably where I'm doing a lot of my freelance writing right now, over at sciencefiction.com, where we do news and reviews of all sorts of pop culture stuff, movies, not just sci-fi, action, adventure, all that good stuff. So you can come hang out with me there, or you can find me on pretty much any social media platform at Tony Schaab.
All right, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. Written work on whysoblue.com. Come back Monday as Scott, Aaron, and I discuss Wilder Napalm, Another Stakeout, Coneheads, and Poetic Justice as the summer of 93 at 30 continues.
It's the summer of 93 at 30.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.